Hello and welcome back to everybody. This is Raiken, our 5th edition live play that meets every Tuesday night. Last week, the party, having asserted control over the army on Storm Reef Isle through Yukikaze's speech with the help of the rest of the party, further established themselves as they were given ranks so that the rest of the army would know how to address them and feel like they were part of the chain of command more naturally. And Yukikaze and Raiken went about the army challenging, sparring to show their strength and to assess the strength of the army. Likewise, after a discussion telepathically among the rest of the party, during which Sotharis here seemed to indicate that perhaps she was at least privy to the things that Laramendus was thinking, to keep him from being overheard, as it were. They cagily discussed their future plans for moving the army and what their options about it were, followed by some plans on creative uses of Wish and Simulacrum to try and retrieve the important items that Vendar lost in his detonation. Thereafter, the party broke up around the training army to lend their own strength and experience to the soldiers here, knowing that they may only have days, depending on how they want to get this done, to get these people as ready for a fight against ancient dragons as humanoids are ever likely to be. They were made aware by Thandros, Vendar's brother, that once the training day had come to a close, or at any time that they felt they needed a rest, being officers, they aren't held to the same standards as the infantry. They can retire to what is effectively become the officers' dorm, a building in among the ruins of the city here that he informed the party the soldiers had managed to restore in the early days of training after El Cement's attack on the island. Honestly, I think that kind of covers everything in broad strokes, so picture. Where we left off, as I said, the party was kind of scattered about, and you had rolled collectively to determine how effective your individualized training sessions were for this this group of some 3,000 people. And actually, what you learned was that it was incredibly effective, that they've been training, that they are training themselves physically, and that they're far better off than villagers and city folk, but they lack discipline, they certainly lack experience, and in the case of the magically inclined, they'd only had the very basics one might receive in one's first few weeks of tutelage at the Arcane University in general. And so I think I will push the sun forward a bit here as we head into the afternoon. That seems correct. Yes.
It's been a long time since Laramendus taught a 101 class to wizards.
Yeah, and you've got a couple dozen to deal with. So with all different, mostly around to the same level, but all different specific levels of understanding, and many different points of view on the how and the why and the what of magic. But you spend your hours of the day, and wear yourselves out quite thoroughly, instructing these people. There's only, the 8 of you, the 7 of you, excuse me. There's only the 7 of you, and there's the 3,000 of them, so many of you are teaching groups of hundreds of people, just doing your best to shout to them and, have them sit and stand in ways that allow you to demonstrate things. This includes magic. This includes, martial footwork and blocking and parrying and things of this nature. And a lot of it is really rudimentary stuff, but all of you, being mostly 20th levels at this point, are well equipped to instruct in this area, and your instruction very clearly has an effect on the way these people are moving and acting and casting. So the day draws toward its close, and you feel quite accomplished here. Like, it's, as you step away from these soldiers and they are returning to their campfires to make their evening meals, that dawning dread of, you shift from, wow, I really helped these people who are pretty novice at this stuff, and they're definitely coming a long way in just such a short amount of time that I spent with them. I can really see the good things on the horizon. You remember, you've got a mere days before they're going to be facing the most lethal challenge anyone on this planet has faced, and that feeling of, how can I make this enough? How can I send these people to that they aren't ready? Which is not to cast any aspersions on what you've done, just the reality of the direness of the situation.
Just imagining, given, looking proudly, given enough time, this will be effective. And Aid leans in and just whispers, and you're like, I'm sorry, what?
Wait, how long?
Great.
Yeah. You're joking, right? But you are able to make use of Seltharis throughout the day. She very willingly assumes her full draconic form and for things as simple as getting these soldiers to approach the dragon and understand the sheer size and power of this creature. Starting there, not even, having her take play swipes at them, not even having them attempt to strike her, just getting these people close enough to understand this is like what you're going to fight. This is what you're going to be staring up at. And that dawning understanding on their faces, many reacting with awe and even amusement, enjoying this experience of being near one of the most legendary dragons in the world. But others, understanding, fully taking the meaning of this and reacting with that barely controlled fear of understanding that the next time they see something this big, it's going to be trying to kill them, and it's going to be good at it. You are invited to the officer's dorm. Thandros will lead you there if you are ready.
Before we go with him, has it basically have Jebel and Laramendis spent the spell slot from Mirage Arcane? Did they point out the areas that they wanted us to?
He did say he would have that to you by the end of the day, so I imagine that he would have been with the other officers throughout the day. You would have seen them moving around the island and pointing things and kind of measuring things, so they wouldn't have had that information to you yet, and you would have just been training people through verbal instruction, not having created the facsimile of Evangardian Mountains yet.
I mean, before we go off to the place that we're going to be staying, or is that a thing that like before going to sleep. I guess it doesn't really matter because Tharman can go before he goes to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he was planning on giving it to you until you'd at least settled in at
Cool.
at the dorm.
Cool. I just wanted to make sure that
yeah,
you know,
you're absolutely welcome to go back out after, but I think they're going to
cool.
be handling that first.
Sounds good.
Thandros leads the group through the ruins of this city. You can see, here and there, scattered about, there are buildings that are more or less intact and useful, and you even get the sense that they are currently inhabited. But by and large, the city around you has been flattened. You notice that the things seem to be blasted apart and burned. You can see the scorch marks of fires upon them, but most notably, you see these kind of arcing, branching scorch marks on a lot of the buildings and across the ground, as though a very directed and focused heat traveled across them in a guided path. And in some places, it is very obvious to you that these scorch marks twist and branch like bolts of lightning. This matching up with the idea that it had been Elsementh that rose and destroyed this place. But among the wreckage, in this area in particular standing out, you do see a large building rising above the scorched ruins around it, and you can see the patchwork of wood on the outside where the damage to it has been repaired. It seems as though a portion of the first floor had been blasted in, and the second and third floors collapsed down upon it, those having the debris cleared out and the structure rebuilt there. This looks like a work of days and weeks of carpentry. And it gives you the sense that many of the people here had other skills before they took up arms against the dragons, that there are a number of people who were carpenters or metalsmiths, craftspeople, before they came here, and those skills were put to work fixing this building. Before you rises an impressive inn and tavern over which swings a sign that reads in the common tongue, "The World Over Inn." And a welcoming orange light blazes out through the windows on all the floors. And as you approach the long staircase that leads up to it, you imagine that this is a proof against rising tides or flooding on the island. That the building is built so high above ground, though on a very sturdy stone base. Thandros will turn to the party and say, "I will bring other officers to meet with you as I can find them. But I would encourage you to speak with the innkeeper here. She has been very gracious in letting us keep room. She does feel somewhat indebted to the army for the rebuilding efforts, but she does charge us that money did come from Tatsuya. So, with him and his coffers potentially gone, the people who he authorized to spend the army's money will need to speak to you to get that authorization, and whatever wealth he took with him, likely this debt falls to you, in short." He kind of scratches his chin and smirks and laughs a little and says, "No one ever said it was cheap running an army."
Where am I? No, who am I next to?
You are next to Leah. As I've moved the tokens.
Oh yeah, there I see myself. I'm in front of Valar, and I'm just gonna say over my shoulder, like, we didn't plan for this, did we?
Is maybe we should check the bag now? He might have something useful in it. Like
I
money.
think that everything can be handled.
We have to spend money, possibly a lot. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah, we're really good at making money. We're constantly doing that.
I mean, yes, we can literally just print money.
You probably shouldn't say that out loud.
I mean, I think that out of character, I think that Thandros would know that a sufficiently high-level magic person can probably just make money, and it be real,
The
or
guild
like
does not.
effectively make money that is real.
Or you could just go to some city, do some magic tricks for some money.
And
Tell you what,
I think that the funding that we need, we will be able to make certain is available.
I'll say to Thandros, tell you what, brother, if Dad knew how powerful and what powerful magic users could do, he would have had one of us be a mage.
He did often complain about the restrictions the guild placed on such magic, so maybe that's why he didn't.
I understand why there would be restrictions on it.
But I see your meaning, brother. He seems to become thoughtful for a moment and says, I'm certain that anything that saves the world should be forgivable by the guild, ultimately. Or it doesn't need to know. And he kind of, like, looks to Laramendus and raises his eyebrows a bit, like, slyly, like, right?
Like Laramendus smiles conspiratorially.
Just so that you're aware, Sam, Laramendus and Thandros have never discussed the guild before, and it is extremely likely that he believes you as a powerful wizard to be a part of the guild. And so this is likely less him knowing that you don't have a good relationship with them, and him trusting that even as a guild mage, you'll know that there are things the guild doesn't need to know right away.
Yeah, there are things that you know, like, worst case scenario, the guild is allowed to turn a blind eye to in certain kinds of situations, and a 20th level wizard who presumably belongs to the guild is probably in the authority to turn that eye.
Yeah. Effectively, just so that there isn't any mixed meaning here.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, because I don't think that it had ever come up with Thandros that Laramendus isn't part of the guild, and the idea that a wizard as powerful as Laramendus is not part of the guild is probably horrifying to Thandros.
It would be, I would imagine, yeah.
Laramendus is a scab.
Kinda, yeah.
Oh my god, we're all going to be blacklisted now.
Sam, how could you? Putting hard-working guild mages out of work. And affecting their pay rates the world over. Worked it in. Oh yeah. Look at this gravy train.
Nailed it.
That fucking worked.
You could just destroy the economy. Free revivifies. Free revivifies.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is a part of why the guild exists, or these strictures within the guild exist, is to prevent economies being completely upturned, because they do have maybe not as many powerful people as you do, but, you know, they are not strangers to having powerful people capable of the things you're capable of, so they've had these problems already.
Yeah.
And they put rules in place to make them not be problems again.
Laramendus is fully expecting that his expertise and labor might end up being requested as recompense for, any rules that it's found out that he's broken in this kind of regard. And residuum.
Oh yeah. Anyway, okay, that'll do for now. You're led inside, with this, token understanding between you and Thandros that all will be taken care of as needs be. And he's going to, lead you in through the front door. He's going to nod, to, the woman manning the counter, who, seems to be, preparing, a tray of, beverages and some light foods, and he's going to make his way, deeper in. The place is decently lit. There's a bunch of, lit candles and torch sconces on the walls and support structure. The place is very large. There's a good scattering of tables. It looks like, probably 100 people or so could be served at once if they had the personnel support to do it. But as you walk in, the woman behind the counter is going to finish placing the last of the drinks she was decanting onto the tray and slide it to the side, kind of slam one arm down elbow first onto the counter and lean heavily onto it, placing the other hand on her hip, leaning towards you, and kind of looks you all up and down. You see this is a human woman with auburn red hair and green eyes, pale freckled skin, and she wears a red dress that has a low-cut neck, and your eyes seem to catch the lights in the room and sparkle just right as she looks out over you. And she says, "Well, you're all new faces to the world over in. Welcome! Pull yourselves out a chair, and I'll be ready to serve you in just a moment."
Well,
Thanks for sitting down.
for Thandros, since this is the officers' court, I'll be like, Thandros, it's like I can just be with anyone in here, right?
I mean, Thandros left you here in the entrance with the understanding that he's going to look around for other officers to update them on things and bring them to you as he sees necessary. But your time is now yours. He wants you to ingratiate yourself to the innkeeper, get yourselves rooms so that you can stay here as officers of this army should, and kind of get the lay of the land now that you've spent the day sweating yourselves out with the infantry. It's time to be officers.
Okay. I just, I missed the part where you left, my bad.
Yep, he wandered deeper into the room. He's over here.
Alright, so I'll just, I will want a drink and, something to nibble on.
Okay, like she just told you, she's got an order to deliver, but then she'll come back to see you once you're all seated somewhere. She said you can sit anywhere.
Alright, I will do so then.
Alright. She's going to disappear for a couple of minutes, and when she heads back over, she will not have the tray anymore. The tray will not be full. She will be holding it in front of her, almost like a shield in front of her, held between two hands, kind of easily, as she wanders up to the table and again looks over all of you and says, "Welcome, I'm Ruby, and you all are new recruits to the army, I take it?"
Lerma just looks at Yukikaze.
Yeah, Yukikaze.
Yukikaze chokes a bit. Yes, we are. I am, actually, taking up the, mantle of, the commander.
Oh, I see. All right, well, don't worry yourselves, I don't bite, and I'd love to be able to talk to you a little bit, especially since you're now going to be the ones supporting my establishment here, as I support your troops and your officers specifically. So, let's start you with a round of drinks and see where it goes from there, shall we?
Yes, drinks.
Yeah, I'd like a hearty wheat, ale.
Of course.
I want to see if this body has more tolerance than the last one.
She's going to kind of blink at the red dragonborn as he announces this. Says, all right, I'll bring you something strong then, man.
Raiken looks over to Vendar. Yes! Another contender enters the fray!
Just know that if you get rowdy... Hey, just know that if you get rowdy, my boys will kick you right out of here on your arses.
I'll keep him in line, Ruby. And I'll eyeball Raiken only.
What? I just want to let off a little steam.
She's gonna take orders from everyone. You'll see her making notes on some unseen slip of paper that she's got planted against the tray that she's holding to her stomach. Before she comes finally to Leah. It says, I don't suppose you'll be having alcohol then, dearie?
No, thank you. I'll pass on that.
What would you like instead? I've got milk and fresh squeezed juices.
Water is fine.
Water, then. Harder to come by that, especially on an island. I'll check the still. And after getting these orders, she's going to disappear into the kitchens for a few.
I am serious about stopping it. If it seems like they're getting out of hand, I will cut them off.
No, after Yukikaze's outburst, he would hear a whisper in his head just saying, calm down, you're supposed to be in charge.
And I think Laramandas will also say, it will just say, we should handle ourselves with more decorum than we might have before.
It's not asking a lot.
Laramandas makes a good point. We should be more reserved today.
Everyone just looking at.
Yeah, Leah's in summer, so here is Teal.
Hmm.
And she's just having her arms crossed looking over at the Dragonborn.
On the topic of funds, we are going to want to find out who we should be speaking with, who's in charge of the equipment and everything of that nature, so that we can know what's going on there and what is needed from us to ensure a smooth transition.
We'll have to wait till Thandros comes by again, and we'll have to ask him.
Of course.
There. What level was the spell to make the liquids?
You mean wish?
Oh, it was wish. It was wish. That was what it was used. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't remember if it was wish.
Yeah.
How much does it make?
25,000 gold pieces worth of a thing.
How do you determine what something gold piece calculates?
There is a innate, value of things that is usually more associated with magical reagents in particular. But that's probably more because those are more well studied. So, for example, Laramandas casts Minor Illusion to create a diamond of a particular size and says, this diamond is worth 500 gold pieces magically. And I imagine that the function of the spell to do things similarly would follow similar rules. But without experimenting, I'm not certain that for some liquid that I have not even seen.
Would you need the liquid in order to make the liquid, or
No,
Awesome.
that would probably it would probably help, but the wish should be able to replicate it.
But you're gonna need the 9th level spell to get my stuff back, aren't you? So I wouldn't
Yes.
be able to. I would need to wait at least 2 days before I can get any of that.
And any spell of that power that you want us to cast is going to require 2 powerful spells, whether that be a simulacrum and a wish, and the time and money that simulacrum costs, or 2 wishes.
They're going to see as Ruby comes back out the doors and past the bar, bearing that same tray, but now loaded up with the drinks you've ordered. And as she begins setting them down, she's going to eye each of you, and especially let her gaze rest on you a moment, Laramendas, and say, "Oh good, spellcasters. Just what I need in my inn that's just been rebuilt after magic destroyed it." She sets everybody's drinks properly in front of them. "Well, you can tell your army boys that the place is holding up great, and I'm grateful to them for that. Thought we'd lose the old girl in that storm. The storm being the dragon."
I am glad it's. Does it appear that it's fairly well, like, rebuilt, or is it still like there's? I guess, like, how good of a job has been done, and how much of it was just we need to make part of it respectable and usable, and have left certain areas just. Like, how cleaned up does it appear?
I am trying to answer.
Or did it appear from the outside? Okay, yeah.
From the outside, the patching is pretty apparent because the damage is, not. There was burning, the electrical burning damage, so that wasn't structurally important to clean up. So the patches are obvious. From the inside, you can tell that the leaks have been plugged and that this place is put together. While not all the wood might match, while some boards are very obviously placed across to brace walls that had caved out earlier on, the place is both respectable and functional. Like I said, it is very clear that the people who worked on this place, at least some of them, were carpenters by trade.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't look like... It looks like there are places that magic could help, but by and large, this place was fixed well.
Cool. So Laura Mendes will say, I'm glad that it was able to be handled to such a state after what must have been devastating. He, as he says that, he looks out towards the door.
Yeah.
To make it clear, considering the rest of everything around here and all of that.
She as you gaze meaningfully toward the door to emphasize your point, and draw your attention back to her, you'll see that she's kind of staring toward that same wall, though very much seems to be staring through it, silent and motionless for several extra seconds, before you kind of see her chest rise as she takes in a breath, and she says, "I think normally I'd put on a strong face and say that it'll take a lot more than that to fell Ruby and the world over in. But I think that I've been through enough things to know that that's kind of the top. An ancient dragon coming up and blasting lightning over your hometown. I've fought a lot of beasties in my days. Nothing like him."
How long ago was that, by the way?
The Blue Dragon attack? Oh, I think it was nigh on 2 months ago, I think. A little less.
Okay, I was just curious, thank you.
If you're new to Stormreef, I'm not surprised. You don't need to apologize for asking a question. It was a difficult time. It is a difficult time. The town, they'll never recover, really. Not for a while yet. And once the army moves on, there's not likely to be enough business to support the place. At least, not after the army's funds, my funds, run out. I don't know, I keep thinking about moving shop to the mainland, and she kind of glances up at the boards and the joists holding up the ceiling and down to the boards on the floor. You know, very, very obviously taking in the sights and the feel of this building that she considers hers. And says, but I just haven't really had the interest in thinking it too hard. Not yet. Cross that bridge as we come to it, as the adventurers say, eh? Or what is it these days? We'll cross that bridge when we burn it down, I think.
I thought it was we'll burn that bridge when we come to it.
It's always something. Been too long, I suppose.
That's more of the harsh way. That says we'll figure that out, or what was it? So yeah, we'll come to that. Never mind. I'm just gonna continue drinking my beer. Excuse me.
You know, for such a good speech earlier, you're getting tongue-tied pretty quickly.
Yeah, my brain's exhausted.
Many a man gets tongue-tied once they come into my inn.
Fair enough.
It's alright. But he does make a point that if you're going to be taking up command here, you're going to want to make sure that you can be understood. Now then, how about I bring you some meat?
No, thank you.
Yes, please.
I could also use something sweet, either some glazed meat or maybe some fruit.
Yeah, get in the salads or fruits.
I think I can rustle up
Nice.
some things like it.
I'll take meat.
I will take meat with a side of meat.
Vegetables, fruits, fresh, and meat, and meat, then. Got it. All the Dragonborn wanting meat? She says, kind of eyeing the red Dragonborn.
Yeah.
Very good. I don't think I heard yours, love, she says, calling over toward Laramendus.
He asks for something simple.
I like simple. And she, after writing a couple notes down on that same unseen piece of paper, moves back to the kitchen. She returns, maybe 15, 20 minutes later, with a kind of heaping tray and another person who you'd not met at her side carrying another tray of things, helping her set them out on the table. He just says, "This is one of my boys, he helps me serve. You can just call him Tav."
Nice to meet you.
He just nods. He doesn't look related to her at all.
Is that with Cav or Tav? K or T?
With a T. First one that came to mind. Can't imagine why. You have your food, and she will return to the bar, taking and filling orders there. But always available, and sometimes pulling questions across. Kind of witnessing all of this, and just sort of very quietly being a passive observer. Finally, Seltharis in her halfling form will kind of lean forward onto the table, looking around at the people around her and say, "So, you always have such a brutish reputation when you come to establishments such as these?"
I'll speak up and say, we've experienced a lot on our adventures, and yeah, sometimes we get out of hand as stress relief. We don't ever get too crazy, but
I think when you say that, Laramendus is just like.
Yeah, like Jebel has like that, like his eyes kind of going like side to side, like.
Yes.
But
Especially when Raiken was with Tatsuya.
it's always been on fun, and we've always been decent about it.
Always decent, is it? Well, I'm sure that I cannot relate at all to needing to blow off steam in my several thousand years of life. I'm certain that I could drink all of you under the table.
That's I would
Sounds
not
like
be
a challenge.
surprised by.
You drinking us on our table will be us drowning.
Probably.
Yes, I think so, that is true. It is not a challenge, unless you want it to be.
Oh, I Raiken.
When I see you eyeing Raiken, I say, I think that would not be a prudent idea for officers.
Oh, Laramendus!
Yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah, don't challenge Raiken. Not because he might win, but because he will seriously take you up on it.
That's why I wanted to do it.
It's true, I would.
You
My first
shouldn't.
night as a dragonborn.
Let's just say that will be a fun adventure for another time.
You could always put your money where your mouth is, Dragonborn.
Oh no. Right,
Is
you
it-
don't. We have to
No.
pay for everyone at the end.
Let's
You
not
need to
break
set an
anything here.
example.
Yeah, I'll set an example by being a champion.
No.
I can set any example I want. I am very old and people like me. What's it gonna be, Raiken? Everyone's telling you no.
Which means he's telling himself yes.
Everyone's
Right,
like, no,
Thunder's
no,
whispering in
no,
his
no.
ear.
Raiken's like,
What do you
yes,
have there?
yes,
A
yes, yes.
beer? No!
Do it.
Raiken, no!
Yeah.
Raiken, yes!
The problem for everybody is that Raiken doesn't have a devil and angel. He just has two devils.
Just as Cord. There's Cord and Frat Bro Cord.
Yeah, one of them's
So
doing
there's two
squats,
chords.
the other one's doing Jaeger bombs.
This is a tough decision.
Laramendus will see you hesitating and jump on that hesitation and say, at some point during the evening, we are going to be introduced to other officers. I do not think that you should be in a state that we do not want them to be interacting with us in when that happens.
What if we do it later?
You just see like the saddest look on Laramendus' face toward in like a quick glance. It's just you undermine everything that he ever wants to say.
Raiken will think long and hard, and unfortunately, Laramendus
anyway.
does get to him, and he will he will kind of slouch his shoulders, be like, "Fine, I won't do it yet."
That'll be the climax of the game. Was getting the purple worm poison, was that also a 9th level spell?
Yes, but it's an easier one.
I
Because
mean,
that
it's
one
something you can only cast
is-
one 9th level spell a day. Right?
yes. So that one would be using shape change.
Either way, doing that would mean another day.
Yes.
It's unfortunate.
You want extremely difficult magic?
I do, and I want it now. I had plans, and we don't got much time. I got a new toy, and I want to go talk to Miss Andrews. What was his name from the
Yeah, that was it.
college Miss Andrews?
Vice
I was
Andrews.
like, I really want to show him my new toy.
I don't think
Oh,
the two of you should
burst
ever
in
meet
like,
again.
Hey, look what I got. Who the hell are you?
Yeah, I'll have to explain.
I think
But
no,
he'll
you like
understand.
burst in. He's like, he sees you with a purple worm, and he's like, oh, my purple
Yeah.
worm poison guy.
Like, I got a new toy, and yes, it's the reason why I'm a dragonborn now.
The exothermic properties of this concoction are
See,
inspired.
I think we can make dynamite, and I want
think-
dynamite.
I think Laramentis just like mutters, "What would it take to make it so he can't step foot on the island?"
A wish.
I could make that happen.
You wish that he can never go to the Arcane University again. It just makes him deathly afraid of water for the rest of his life. Being anywhere, like, even within the idea of a body of water, like, knowing it's there is too much for him. The rest of his life has to be spent very far inland.
Look, sacrifices must be made.
It could mean the difference between us winning and losing. You saw what it did. Imagine if it was safer to
mean-
use.
You make a somewhat good point. However, if that substance in particular were to be mass produced,
Imagine the industrial applications.
I'd rather not, thank you.
This could revolutionize
There's
the world.
There's just horror on Laramentis' face.
It's never going to be the same after this.
I think that we have. I think that we have changed enough of the world for now.
Jelly,
I'm not
you
done yet.
feel this churning in your jellies as he's talking about the industrial applications of these types of things and how they can revolutionize the world, and you just get this sense of dread that ties all the way back to your training with Gliss. That just says there's something wrong here that if that it will be up to you to do something about.
Picks out the journal. I'll make a little bit of note of this. Remind me later.
I'll remind you later that you wrote in your journal.
No, that's symptoms.
Ah.
You know, just like deal with this nonsense. Anywho,
I see you're the
Jebel is
best at
going to turn to
note-taking.
Laramentis, and say, what was this about a spell that creates 1,000 gold pieces worth of any substance?
Wish, yes. A single object worth that amount of money.
You just
Oh.
hear a low whistle from across the room. I wish I had 20,000 gold pieces worth of anything. Mostly gold.
Object.
So, like, a vat of 25,000 gold pieces worth of nitroglycerin.
Yes.
Like,
Which is why I think I asked about your ability to safely decant it.
That's why I need Lysandrius to help me make it.
That's why
I do not think that we have the time and the capabilities to enlist his assistance in this endeavor.
Well, I can try myself. I'm willing to.
No, I was just thinking because, well, water is cheap. How much would 25,000 gold pieces worth of water look like?
It's a lot of water.
Like, would it create a lot of water, or would it just create like a very expensive vial of water?
I mean, to the voice in the sky, I would think that if I wish for like a container with 25,000 gold worth of potable water, it would be insanely large, and
I imagine a
not
limiting factor
like
that would be the cost of a container.
yeah.
What would be? What
Yeah.
if,
Not
Container
insignificant.
is just like a valley.
what if it's sparkling water?
I mean, I guess one has to decide if there is an intrinsic gold value of water, or if it's in fact without value because it should be free to everyone kind of thing. And that gets into an anthropological discussion that I'm not prepared to have right now.
But if we say
How capitalistic is Corellin?
what if we say like 25,000 gold pieces of wine?
Of wine? Yeah, then you would just have a lot of wine.
Be a lot of wine.
That would be just an ass load of wine. You would just have, like, if you created it...
I want to have a lake that's wine.
I mean...
Yeah. I do imagine that for the water, the easier thing would be basically to have a bunch of empty containers and wish they were full of water.
Something like that. I mean,
And that way you control more the amount that you are getting, and like all of that. So it's a slightly different kind of wish, but
We were having a drought, now we're having a flood.
but that spell is also difficult and dangerous. Remember?
Not for me, because I don't know it.
Oh no, it's still very dangerous for you.
Not in the same way, though.
The whole time, you know, you're able to enjoy the food that you've been served. You're able to enjoy the drink, and you're able to have these conversations. You know, mostly undisturbed. It's very clear that you're having these conversations in a room with other people in it. All of the other people in here are either, you know, the owners and operators of the building or other members of the officer corps for the army. And you do see more people coming in as the sun continues to set, and taking up places and being served. As you've, you know, had enough time to eat most of the food on your plates, you're going to hear that telltale clinking of armor as Thandros crosses the room back over to you, trailed by two people, an elf male and a female orc, apparently. And he's going to stride up to the table, you know, focusing all of his attention on Yukikaze. And he's going to salute, and he's going to say, "Commander, I would like you to meet," and he's going to indicate them one at a time. He indicates the elf, Captain Rialan Thess, who is the, what's the word I wanted to use here? As Thandros struggles for a word, the elf is going to lean forward and offer a hand to you, Yukikaze, to shake. And he's going to say, "They call me the Coffers."
Ah, it's very nice to meet you.
Indeed. I don't fully understand the need for a change in leadership, but I trust that you will also intend to lead our great army to victory in the name of Bahamut.
Absolutely.
Excellent. I am in charge of the funds. You might call me a bursar, or I suppose that by this time the nickname Coffer has stuck, and it does not bother me as it once did.
We will have a couple questions for you in a second. And the other person, Thandros?
Thandros is going to smile and nod, you know, thanking you for moving on, and indicate the woman to his right and say, "This is Lieutenant Fender Stren. She has been in charge of the creating the regiments for the physical training of the army, and she has done admirably at it. She's below me in the ranks, but she appoints herself very well, and I can recommend no one more highly to help you to get this army in its top physical form.
Did she put out her hand?
She hasn't. She's got her hands folded behind her back, and she's standing at parade rest at the table.
I will not force it then. I'll just say it's very nice to meet you also, and you've done very well.
She is going to nod very sharply and say, "Commander, I look forward to working with you in the days to come. Has the commander determined how many days we are to spend training?"
We are still ironing out some few more details, and we will be we will hopefully have a set time here soon.
Then, until you give me a more solid number, I will continue on under the assumption that we are to leave 3 days hence.
That is good. Please proceed with that until told otherwise.
Of course. May I make a recommendation to the commander, as the officer in charge of these things?
You may.
If there's any way that we can get more time, it would be very beneficial to your soldiers.
I will heed your advice. Thank you very much.
She's going to snap off a very solid salute. And she's going to turn to Thandros, who's going to say, "Thank you very much, Lieutenant. You are dismissed." She's going to snap a salute at him, and she's going to move back out of sight within the room. Back where she came from.
Out of character, what was the coffers guy name again?
He was Rialan Thess. I did name the tokens, so if you ever forget, you can just hold tab.
Okay.
And that should reveal it to you.
Alright, so I will look to address Rialan and say, Rialan, me and my officers here, well, actually, they would all be officers. All their titles are officers for everyone in the group, right?
Yes, you are all officers. They are below you, but above everyone else in the Corps.
All right,
they
so
are
the
all lieutenants general.
So all the officers around me and I are trying to assess the current state of funds and needs of the Army before we address some other things. Could you fill us in, please?
He's going to nod, and he's going to reach into a pouch at his side and pull out a book that is far too large to have been in the pouch. And then out of the same pouch, he's going to place his hand inside for a moment, and then he's going to draw them back out with a pair of reading glasses, which he's going to snap the legs of open and then slip them over his long ears before holding the ledger before him and opening it with the same care as you might see a wizard with their spell book. He'll lick a finger and turn several pages before tapping a few times on some figure unseen to you and say, "Currently, for supplies here, we have been able to provide either the supplies themselves or the funds therefore to keep the army in food and bedding for the next 2.5 weeks on this island. If you wish to know specifically about the officers' quarters here," he's going to turn a page and run his finger down it and say, "We have the funds to pay for another perhaps 3 days, but then we will require roughly 150 gold pieces per day after that."
Okay, continue.
I have been working with what remains of the import-export on this island, and they should be expecting another delivery of solid foodstuffs and fresh water from the mainland 2 days from now. That will contain enough to supply the officers alone here in this inn for 1 month, but the army at large, it would only supply for 3 days. But given that we weren't planning to stay any longer than that, I haven't forced the issue to plan further out. Should I amend that, Commander?
Well, you said the earlier one, we have enough food and bedding for 2 weeks, and what was the last? You said
That the new food would last the officers alone 1 month, or the army at large only an extra 3 days.
okay.
The food and bedding is what they can take with them. One might consider them non-perishable or magically supported. It's what we were planning to take with us when we left for Evangard.
Okay. Actually, I'll be looking at Larry Brown just to kind of confirm, like, we were talking that, well, no, we're not telling, it's been way past an hour.
Yeah.
We were discussing, I'll be looking at Larry Mendes just to confirm as I'm saying it, that we were discussing other means of transport that would shorten our time, which we will probably end up utilizing the 2 weeks worth of stuff to maybe prolong our time here if we have any information to provide us that we have more time.
I think we should be able to know by tomorrow morning the plan about moving people magically.
Okay.
So it says to Yukikaze.
Okay, so that actually seems that we are pretty set with some good amount of supplies. That's really good work with that. So we got...
Commander, if I may...
Yes.
Simply put, I wanted permission to set up more supply lines. That way we could hold on to the non-perishables we have in case of a protracted campaign in Evangard, and thereby have the supplies be fresh while we're here on the island.
That is a fair thing. I very much appreciate you pointing that out. That's actually pretty good. That's a good idea. What are you have any needs to execute that, or?
Indeed, Commander. I will need to be provided the funds for it, as we are reaching our limit for staying here. The supplies and funding that we've allocated for that. Further supply lines had been secured by Tatsuya as he reached out to leaders of the different nations and promised our strength to them in exchange for their monetary support. If he is not here, then should I trust that you are doing that, securing funding from the nations of Amaranta?
Yes, we are going to take up everything that he was doing before. So yes, we will be looking into, or also confirming what we have at the moment to add to what the army already has.
Of course, Commander. If you can then give me until tomorrow evening to communicate the needs of the army and to tabulate the costs, I should be able to present you with a figure at that time of what I will need from you to provide for your army, sir.
That sounds acceptable. Please do.
Very good. Then, other than that, is there anything that I can help you with at this moment, Commander?
So, are there any extra supplies or anything outside of what you just stated for the current? Is everyone? Was there enough funds and everything? Everyone was equipped. Do we need more equipment or anything in that sense for the current number of soldiers?
He's going to turn back a page in the ledger and take a moment to read over it, staring down his nose through the reading glasses, before he says, "We have a generous supply of equipment coming into us from Aspara, which I'm expecting to have tomorrow or the day after the Inner Sea forbidding. Outside of that, everyone in the army currently has been equipped with armor to suit their training level and a weapon to suit their needs."
If you didn't plan on adding that to your tally of things to communicate, could you please do that? Let me know if everything came in and if we're good.
Of course, Commander. I will inform you if there are any delays in the shipments that we're currently expecting. Are there any new shipments that I should add to my list? Do you have connections for more supplies?
We would have to confirm when they would be here or when they would be shipped, if or and how they are going to be sent. So I do not have an exact time or day.
If you need me to set any of that up for you, Commander, I am more than happy to. It is my job.
Okay. I will get back to you on our contacts probably or about the time when you report tomorrow.
Very good, Commander. I shall be awaiting that request.
All right. I think Larmendus or anyone else have any questions or concern?
I have a question about the amount of equipment that could not fit through. I say the size of the doorway for a demiplane, which I think is a like a 5x5 kind of. No, it's the gate is the large one.
Oh, okay. Demiplane.
Because the discussion, I think part of the discussion was had in chat, but the idea was doing a demiplane, plane shift, demiplane to that same demiplane, and then you have two doors in a demiplane to just run people through.
I see.
As a way to move troops, but the limiting factor of that is the size of the opening.
Yes. Much of the soldiers' personal equipment can be carried on backs, but we do have a force of horses and wagons to carry the foodstuffs, to carry the extra clothing and bedding that we know will be necessary once we reach Ebengard's frozen peaks. I imagine that even if you establish an alternate means of getting there than boats, ships, we will still need those supplies, and we will still need at minimum, large creature, a beast of burden to carry them, or several, as it were.
Laramandus looks like pensive, and just says,
The logistics of moving such a large force are frustrating, and at the same time scintillating.
It's always nice to find somebody who finds great joy in their work, you know?
I shall take the compliment, Lieutenant General. I need to roll his history. Oh, well, he's shit at it.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
You'll never know.
It's true, I never will. But yes, that will be... Oof, sucks for him. That will be taken under advisement for the potential plans of movement.
Of course. If there is a need to go down to man-carried provisions, I will start the calculations, if the Lieutenant General wishes.
That would be appreciated.
Very good, sir. Is there anything else that I could help the Lieutenants General or Commander with this evening? Information I can provide, calculations I can begin.
If everyone is set on, I think we're all good. I thank you very much.
Then, if I am to be dismissed, I have a thought and need to go see the infantry.
You elaborate, if you don't mind me.
Of course, Commander, I didn't want to get your hopes up, but it occurs to me that the Lieutenant General here has suggested that he may want to carry a great deal of supplies in smaller individual packages, and we, the Army, that is to say, has the difficulty of requiring the ability to travel potentially great distances in harsh environments, and therefore an inability to individually carry more than we've already calculated for, at least much more. But
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was lost at what you're getting at, but I understand what you mean now.
the Commander is, of course, of great mind. And then, if I may be dismissed, I have work to do.
You are dismissed.
Thank you, sir. He snaps off a salute and heads for the door.
I had rather forgotten about equipment. Bad idea.
And can I roll Arcana to see if Jebel knows about the spell Enlarge Reduce?
We've
do.
talked about it in.
Do I?
Yep.
Yeah, we
Have we
talked
talked
about it
about
last
it
time
in-
we tried to teleportation circle and we wanted to keep the cart.
when we had large equipment that needed to be moved.
Have we talked about it in terms of trying
Before
to
we
squeeze
give up
a wagon
Mayday.
through the
Yeah,
doorway?
Yep.
yeah.
The problem back then was that even once you got it through the portal, it still needed to go up a flight of stairs and then out another door and down another flight of stairs into a city street.
Well, I think part
through
of the
a building.
problem was that it was huge and
Yeah.
it needed to be
Medium.
medium, and you could only take it one level down.
Yeah, you can't stack the effects.
So we
No
could
matter
get it
how
in the
much you wanna
basement out of
try.
the stairs. And then it probably would have not fit in the basement. It's like brewing.
But does Jebel say anything about Enlarge Reduce?
Oh yeah, I'm going to ask about Enlarge Reduce because it's just the way it's worded. Like, it drops it down to, like, basically, the way it describes it, it drops it down to a quarter of its size.
Yeah, that's because it's the way that they describe one size category. Since a large creature is
Yeah.
2 by 2, a quarter would be 1 by 1.
So,
But like, it's silly that they describe it. They should have just committed and said it goes down one size category. It goes from huge to large, large to medium, medium to
I think
small.
it says that as part of it, but for things that are not creatures, it starts describing other things. Because they may not have a size
The
category.
The target size is halved in all dimensions, and so it is reduced to 1 the normal. This reduction decreases its size category from medium to small, for example. Until the spell ends, the target also has disadvantage. Oh, that's if you use it on a person.
Yeah. So, in any event, since we did use a size category to describe carts anyway, and they were huge so that you could get all of your people in them, it would only have gone down to large, from a 3 by 3 to a 2 by 2.
disassemble the wagons, carry them through, reassemble them. Problem solved.
I mean, wisdom check? I don't fucking know. Insight, yeah.
Insight, that would be an 18.
Okay. Just by the excitement on the guy's face and the explanation he started to give before Commander Yukikaze cut him off, it is likely that he is off to discuss something in that vein. You could always go and follow him and find out. Or assume that that's what he's done.
No, if I assume I'm right, then that's fine. It's fine by me.
You feel like he probably came to a similar conclusion, and that's what he's off to talk to someone about in the infantry.
Large reduce would still have to be cast on horses.
Yes. I don't know that we have... It's a second level spell. Laramendus' judgment on the amount of second level spells that we can easily have access to.
Well, among the few dozen wizards that you have access to, imagine that, like, perhaps 1/4 of them have access to second level spells and everybody else has less.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth considering a gate for the larger creatures and not us? Since we wouldn't have to cast multiple at that point, still moving the rest of the troops the other way.
The concern that I have around that is just the amount of time, because hold on, I need to remember. I need to remember how long that is open. I don't know that we have the amount of time to move, and I don't know how many horses there are. And how easily they could be moved, because I imagine a lot of them are pack animals and not... Oh, we lost somebody. Who was? Lost Raiken. He's back now.
Don't lose Raiken.
I imagine many of the horses that need to be transported are pack animals, and so probably less easy to move in a very short amount of time than cavalry, for instance. But that is a thing that we can... 20 feet. That only lets you do...
There is another possibility that I'm guessing you have not considered. The assistance of the dragons that I have spoken with and that others of my kind have tried to gather could be directed here. Things could be carried that cannot be teleported. It would not be as fast, but it would certainly be faster and safer than trying to go by sea. Dragons can cover these distances that take mortal means days in a matter of hours due to our ability to fly high and fly fast. I perhaps have the support of enough dragons to carry several horses, wagons even.
If that is something that they're willing to do, it's a really good idea.
You just see a golden smirk spread across her face. They are willing to do what Selfaris, the Golden Scale, tells them. Mostly.
Fair enough. What do you guys think of that?
That sounds like something we should utilize.
I agree. I think that would address a lot of concerns around moving the larger things.
So we are going to also do it so to compensate, move the troops by magic, and then bulky supplies have the assistance of Siltharis'
That'd be ideal. It would give us more time to train, plus our troops would be fresh when they got there instead of worn down from a long march.
Dragons, Setharis dragons. I have access to several gold and copper dragons at this time. A word from me and they could be here on this island within hours. Perhaps a day.
What kind of... Do you have a rough estimate of numbers?
Numbers. We are so few these days. It's a sad thing. Among the gold, I was able to secure the promises of 10. All adult or further grown than that. Among the copper...
All capable of carrying about the same amount?
Roughly. Yes.
Okay.
Each one could carry a single horse or wagon, depending on this wagon's size and load. But
Okay.
I think that it could be done. Among the copper, I was able to secure the promises of 3 clans, which amount to about 36 dragons, roughly speaking.
That's I feel that's a very solid number.
The bronze, I could only secure the promise of 1 clan, which had 13 dragons.
So we're looking about 53 total.
Roughly, yes. Myself included. I do not yet have word on the brass, and the silver have not agreed to anything.
Okay, why don't we, just to be on the safe side, we'll plan for about we'll leave a couple in the say, so we'll kind of calculate for 50, leave a couple slots in case. Alright.
It will be a flotilla of dragons approaching Ebengard. They will wet their pants.
Head of character. I'm just imagining like 60 dragons all holding like ropes with like platforms with like 3 horses on them, just bolting through the sky. The horses just terrified.
Definitely have to invest in some horse therapy after this.
Alright, we'll have to, once we get the numbers from the coffer, we'll figure out the needs of how many dragons and whatnot.
Thandros is going to lay a hand on the table and say, Cyrus isn't wrong. If we traumatize the animals too much, they won't be useful to us. We will need to consider that.
Can't we, usually horses are pretty good if we, maybe, blindfold them as they go.
Possibly. It sounded like Leah was trying to say something.
I know it was gonna be a joke, but that timing's sour.
Oh, okay.
But to my knowledge of horses and horse handling, Tristan, it would be that we can blindfold the horses to keep them calm, can't we?
I mean, that does work. Blinkering horses in areas where there are things that can spook them, yes. Having them effectively hobbled in a flying cage, moving very fast in thin air, the blindfold might not be enough.
Okay, I just don't know.
Henry,
No, I know. I'm not saying this with any expectation that you would have come up with it. I'm letting you know that this is a little bit more than that. It could work. It would be up to kind of me to roll some animal experts among the army to determine if they thought it was a good idea or not.
Oh, what if, is there Larry, is there magic that you can like centralize where they're caged to like give them a serene environment,
Or put them all to sleep.
or put them to sleep? Yeah, that's also a very good suggestion.
Horse tranquilize them before shoving them in the cargo hold of a plane. Yeah, sounds good idea.
Yeah. Have them knocked out for the flight. They won't know anything happens. So
Don't
like,
they-
oh, where am I now?
Don't they do that to some animals or something?
Yeah, it was common practice a while back. Now people are a little bit more hesitant to drug animals.
Yeah, I understand that, but that was a practice at one point.
Yeah. They would
I-
narc dogs and cats and then shove them in the cargo hold.
Magically, the sleep spell does not last long enough.
Well, maybe we can make some sort of alchemical compound to knock them out.
I would leave that in the hands of experts. He is looking at Vendar when he says that.
Can I roll if I did something we can do?
Making poisons and making a drug that's safe for a living being is quite
It's
different.
all about it. No, it's not. It's all about dosage. It's just dosage.
all
same thing,
I've been
it's
doing
just about-
lately is making sure that I have too many dosages in my poisons. I just got to cut it back a little bit. Honestly, I'm
Yeah.
saving poison.
Just a little bit of it can be medicine.
L50.
When you do a
have
lot
51,
of it, it's
and
poison.
then it's poison.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
So is that something I roll for, or do I just think is that something I can make?
Yeah, you can roll for it.
I use that inspiration that we get.
Yep.
Got a nat 1.
Oh, nice.
And it is a skill check. And so
Also, as a poisoner, aren't you proficient in it, so you can't roll less than a 10?
True, that is true. Constantly forget about that incredibly useful skill that I have.
such a good ability.
That time I rolled a 19. That's good.
Alright. It wasn't wasted. Yeah, you feel confident that your poison formulations are to kill humanoids, and so you might not even need to cut them much to make them non-lethal to horses, but if you did need to, you'd be stretching your poison more than normal, so it feels very efficient to you. This seems like a great idea.
Yeah, I'm confident I can make up a compound that will knock out the horses and for the transport.
Yeah,
Especially-
I'll help you with that.
Especially given that you have up to 3 days, at least 3 days to work on it. You feel like if the supplies hold out, you should be able to make enough, and you should have the time to get the formulation right. You do know whether or not you want to make it known to anybody here that it will require some experimentation, which could be dangerous to one horse or two.
Fermentation requires sacrifice.
Just test it on a horse jebel. It'll be great.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
there we
Jebel.
go. If it kills him,
Sports-
then he'll just turn back into Jebel.
Whoa.
Now he can turn into a horse infinitely.
Yeah.
Oh god, he can!
He's the perfect test subject.
You
it's
have
just real application.
invented the worst animal testing.
I may or may not have known this going into that suggestion.
Oh my god.
I did not
Gonna
add
change
horse
the world,
in-
Jebel.
Oh, shit.
Hang on.
Out of character, is Vendar just going to like make everyone in our party slowly one after the other? He's going to use us for something. Jebel he's using to test. Lara Bendis he's going to get purple worm poison from.
And I
He's
think
gonna poison Jebel, he's gonna milk Lara Mendes, he's gonna...
Look.
Oh,
Broken
very
clock is right twice a day. Some people really like Machiavelli, okay?
But to get back to things, yeah, if we could sedate the horses so that they could be transported with less of a concern, that seems better to me. Although I don't know. I guess Larman has returned to Jebel. Say, I don't know how they will be feeling afterwards. If it's still enough that it would be a concern.
Well, I can talk to them beforehand.
Let them know that they'll be going to sleep a little while, then they'll wake up somewhere new.
That does sound like a good idea.
It's a very strange thing that draft horses have a fairly low constitution score.
Wild. So they're really susceptible to poisons, is what you're telling me?
See, what's a riding horse like?
So much for healthy as a horse.
Riding horse the same way, yeah. Like, I have more constitution than those things. We're off testing it on, like, Raiken.
What?
Here, drink this.
I think it's a good idea to test it on something that's super tolerant, and you get the dosage wrong. If you test on something that's super tolerant, then when you give it to somebody who's not super tolerant, it's gonna be too much.
I'm immune to poison.
It's true.
It's true. We try to get him. It's like, wow. I guess like a liter is enough.
Wow, this poison sucks. It's not doing anything.
Just chugging it by the gallon. I like thinking that just as a party
pouring
trick,
purple
just
worm poison
purple
into
worm
him,
poison.
going, what the fuck happened? Does it have a shelf life?
Just gives the drink that nice little kick, you know.
Start adding purple worm poison every till your drinks.
You just put a drink down in front of somebody and you're like, the game has begun.
It's a party trick.
So, Yukikaze, your official food taster, to make sure no one's trying to kill you as commander, cannot be Raiken. Like, oh, it tastes fine, here you go.
I'm surprised.
Laramentis is capable of casting Detect Poison.
I'm surprised that Vendar doesn't. I'm surprised that you haven't started like low dosing yourself with purple worm. Make yourself immune to it.
I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, probably not. Microdoses purple worm poison just to get a buzz. So he's like, I understand Visandrius.
Starts telling it as a drug, make a whole new industry.
Visandrius on another continent doing a line of gunpowder suddenly sneezes. The room explodes again because, of course, there's an open flame somewhere in it.
See, Vendar starts microdosing himself with purple worm poison, and then it gets to the point where he has to have the purple worm in his poison in his drinks, otherwise everything just tastes bland.
It's a flavor enhancer.
I think that's why Visandrus isn't allowed to deal with purple worm poison anymore. Like, because they caught him doing that. And so it isn't about, like, research. They're just, like, cutting him off from his, drug supply.
Fools. Anything could be a drug if you try hard enough, he says as he chops grass on his desk. Turns out this flower is descended from Poppy. Little did they know, there's just a bit of opium in each one. Apply it directly to the cornea.
Oh god.
Why do you think he wears the goggles?
Oh my god.
A constant supply.
He's just swimming in it all day. Oh, man. I love that Visandrius is coming up again. Oh, God, that's fun.
He's one of my favorite characters.
He did give you a gift that kept on giving. He's really hoping you can give him more.
Yeah, it's mutually beneficial.
Um, so, you have discussed quite a lot of things. You got to meet two of the important officers and came up with some ideas for how to proceed forward. You can see out the windows are no longer aglow with the setting sun, that they are dark and reflecting the torches back at you. At this,
Sorry, what was the last thing? Someone said something to me at my house.
I said that it got dark outside, and that you have discussed a lot of things, and it would be reasonable to retire.
I'll actually address the group and be like, should we seek out or talk to any other officers before we retire?
I know I have a sending I need to make. That I've meant to mention last time, but didn't.
I couldn't possibly imagine what that sending might be.
Something along the lines of, Mom, please don't touch that button.
Is Thandros here?
Is Thandros here? Yes, Thandros is here.
Thandros, do you think we should address the other officers tonight, or be a later or in the morning thing when everyone's refreshed?
He's going to kind of look and over his shoulder and see that there are a couple tables with people still banging drinks, but you can see kind of a steady stream of others slouching their way up the stairs back there. He's going to say, if there's any role in particular, body of knowledge you wanted to tap, I can find them for you, but otherwise you'll have all day tomorrow to deal with them.
Okay, I am quite exhausted. I think I will save it for tomorrow and retire myself.
Very good, Commander. He's going to move around the tables over to Laramendus and say, Lieutenant General, I have a demarking of the parts of the island that could be transformed for training purposes here, and he lays out a largish piece of paper that has a rough sketch of the island, a marker for the inn, a marker for the bivouac, and then dotted and hashed areas indicating places that it should be safe to transform. It says, we've also put up red painted stakes marking these same lines out on the island itself, so you should be able to find them easily.
Excellent. I think that Laramendus will turn to Yikaze and say, I think before I retire, I'm going to make sure that I cast that spell so that I'm more able to be fresh tomorrow.
I'm going to point at the map. Does that require one casting or two?
We've marked out 4 potential locations, so you may cast whatever you feel is necessary. Obviously more is better, but we're not trying to steal too much power from you, but for the...
More preparation is better.
Indeed. You'll find that we've marked several square miles, and whatever you feel you can or wish to transform, anything is helpful to the Army, Lieutenants General.
Can I get back a 7th level spell with Arcane Recovery?
I think it stops at 5.
Yeah, I think it does. No, it stops at 6! Damn it! So close!
What stops 6?
Arcane Recovery. To take a short rest and get back spell slots.
Yeah, I can't get above 5th with sorcery points.
Mm-hmm. And it's entirely reasonable. I'm just a little sad. But Laramendus will say, I would appreciate your assistance, Jebel, and Leah, if you could also come with us to help. I think Laramidas has not ever actually been to Ebengard.
Ever. Okay. I do believe that is what you've said all through the campaign.
Yeah. So I think that he has probably been to areas in the Feywild that are, like, similar in climate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like and based on what he has read and people he's talked to. So he'll say, Leah, I have never actually been to Ebengard, so your input into the spell would be most helpful.
Sure, you want me to come with you to Ebengard?
No, I'm casting a spell
yes,
to...
but later.
Well, I suppose, yes, but later. It is not inaccurate. Jebel and I are going to be casting a spell to turn areas of the island into
quote unquote Ebengard. But neither of us have been there. We don't know what it looks like.
Oh. Well, I can
So
help.
description. Not precise terrain, really, but what we can expect there, so that troops practicing in will have some understanding of what they're getting into.
Yeah.
The map with the places drawn out, were they all 4 separate areas, like, or were any of them contiguous?
I mean, so the 4 areas that are marked out are separate, but within them is at minimum a square mile. Some are more. So, yes, some of them are contiguous. To answer your question, or to answer the spirit of your question, there are places where you could create more than a square mile. Use 2 spells within that area.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Just to...
But there are 4 non-contiguous locations. Just at least 2 of them are larger than a square mile, so you'd be able to use more than 1 spell in those areas.
Okay. Yeah.
The whole island's only like 20-30 square miles.
So, should we do this?
If the 3 of us are not needed for anything else here, then yes, I would like to make sure we get that done.
The air changes to winter. It's ready.
Lerman has directed that statement at Yukikaze. Who was muted.
Wait, what was that again?
Lerman has said, if there isn't anything else that the 3 of us are needed for, I would like to be able to go and cast those spells.
Yes, I am everything I wanted to say or do with everyone is done. I'm retiring here after I finish my drink and my food.
Before leaving, Laramidas will thank Thandros.
Of course, Lieutenant General. Anything that you need. He's going to turn to Vendar and say, if the others are headed to bed, would you sit with me a while, brother?
Of course.
He's going to smile.
Is there any particular place for me upstairs?
Thandros is gonna kind of like tap his forehead like, oh right, I forgot. And he's going to look to you and say, I'm sorry, I should have been more clear about that earlier, Commander. You are going to have to buy the room or rooms for your officers.
Okay, that is fine. So there's no particular spot in general, right? Alright, so...
there was a room for Tatsuya, but if you want to all stay in the same room, his would not have been big enough for that.
Oh, okay. Is there a room big enough for all of us?
Yes.
Okay. I guess we'll get that one then, and I will retire to that. So, I'll go up... Oop. Where'd I go? I lost myself.
You probably just have the slicer set too low, because you're just on a bench.
Oh, yeah, I did. Alright. So I'll go up to alright, I'll say thank you, Thandros, and have a good night. Then I'll approach Ruby, square away whatever needs to be done, and head upstairs.
Yeah, Ruby's going to lean on that counter and say, "You'll be wanting a room for you and your friends then. Was it, Yukikaze, I believe?"
Yes.
Ah, my ears aren't as old as the rest of me, good. Alright, so what, there was 8 of you?
8? No, there's 7 of us.
You turn, and Seltharis is just kind of waggling her her halfling fingers at you.
No, Siltharis, I will get you your own room.
I am quite pleased to have anything. I could sleep outside for all I care if you do not wish to spend money on me. Dragons often sleep outside. I like the stars.
No, I said I'd get you your own room so you wouldn't have to sleep with my snoring and our shenanigans.
Oh,
unless
yes,
you want.
she lays the back of her hand against her forehead and tilts her head back and says, "Yes, what that I would be condemned to sleep with the common rabble, such as you great heroes. I would never wish to share a room with your ilk."
Should I I feel like that was a jest, so do I want to roll that, or do I want to just say it was a jest?
She's being pretty obviously sarcastic.
Okay, I figured. But is that actually, do you wish to sleep with us?
I wish to keep things simple, Commander. If I am to be leading this army with the rest of you, it helps to be privy to your plans.
Okay. Then why don't you just stay in our room? Then you know when everyone is up, and if you're up before us, or we can get you, make sure you're alerted.
She's going to put on a very sweet smile, her gold lip gloss shining in the torchlight. She says, "I think that is an extremely good decision, Commander. I can see why they put you in charge of this army. You are very intelligent."
I'll give the same grin back. I thank you for the compliment.
Ruby's, you turn back, and Ruby's just got her eyebrows, halfway up her forehead, with a kind of a crooked smile on her face. She says, "So a room, then?"
Yeah, for 8, please.
Of course. I've got one that you should all be able to fit in. And that'll be 15 gold pieces for the night.
Let's see if I have... no. Inventory. Oh yeah, I have that. Alright, how much is that? It's 10 gold a plat?
Yes.
Okay.
So, 2 plat should give you 5 gold change.
Alright, I will do so.
Alright, so you get 5 gold change. She'll tell you how to get there. It's upstairs. It's pretty much the central room. It's got all the beds around the outside edge of it, and she gives you a key to it.
I will also give the names of everyone else staying in the room so she knows.
She's going to nod and kind of reach under the counter, pull out a ledger there, and flip to a new page and write down all the names you said, and write down, one night, 15 gold, and close the ledger, put it away.
Alright, and I will thank her and then head to bed.
Welcome to the World Over Inn, and I hope that you'll stay with us again sometime after the world doesn't end. I would hate to have to rename it to World's End Inn. It just doesn't roll off the tongue as easy.
I will guarantee you we will be making sure that doesn't happen.
Very good. As you turn to head upstairs, you take in the look of the place. You notice that there is a minstrel playing in the far back corner in front of a fireplace. with roaring flames within. It seems warm and cozy. You can see several other officers still sharing drinks and talking quietly amongst themselves. But the thing that catches your eye is that there is, as you head around the bar and toward the stairs as she indicated them to you, there is a glint of light that you just had never been in the right position to catch that reflection before. And you notice that there is a green tapestry hung on the wall, and against it is on hooks. There is a hand and a half sword, or a bastard sword, that seems old, well cared for, but you can see the little spots of rust on the blade. You can see notches in its edge. Right behind the bar.
What are you doing to me?
Nothing. Just letting you know that you spotted an interesting looking old sword that is very interestingly given a place of honor on the wall behind this bar, a place where it would be seen and noticed.
I'm gonna see that, and I will take note of it, but I'm gonna still head to bed.
Alrighty.
I will, okay. Yeah, Yukikaze is gonna be a little slow walking by there as he passes by.
Whoops.
And then head upstairs. Because it does catch his interest for a moment.
Well, I believe that you're upstairs now.
Yep. So, alright, you can continue with Vendar and Thandros before it gets too late.
Right. Yeah, we've got 20 minutes left. Alright, so, Jebel, Laramendus, and Leah head out to go to those places and cast your spells.
At some point during the meal and other discussions that we're not including Laramendus, I will have passed him a note, which I have put in the start.
I would say it's more than potentially dangerous to... Are you teleporting to the circle?
Not the circle, just the city in general.
Oh. Then that's less deadly. That seems reasonable for covering what you wanted to cover.
Alright.
Is there something you were wanting to try and convey that you were having trouble figuring out how to sending phrase?
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't, potentially underselling the danger. I just, so many words, so few I can actually use.
I would possibly just advise not to touch it and explain that it's teleporting, or that it would teleport her, not just to be cautious of it. But if you are that concerned about her using it,
Alright.
I do not know if it's a thing that she would use.
I can do the rest myself, so Tristan, as you want to make sure I do.
Yep. Nope. It's good to get the feedback that you wanted. And so you are able to head out to do your casting, though. That's a 6-second thing, I imagine. Although she is able to respond,
it's a 10-minute spell, I think. But yeah.
I guess I misunderstood. I thought it was with the Sending Stone.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Mirage Arcane.
No, sorry. I was hand-waving the Mirage Arcane that,
yeah.
What you guys are doing... Yeah. So you're going out there, you and Jebel are talking to Leah about her experiences in Ebengard. She's switching to Winter because I'm sure this is not stuff she wants to remember. Maybe that's actually a scene we should play out next time. I'll save that for that because Leah let me know if that is something you were hoping to roleplay.
I wasn't hoping to roleplay, but it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Very fair answer. Right. So that leaves me with Raiken. Everybody seems to be drifting off to their various pre-bed activities.
Yes, Raiken is starting to get a little sleepy from all the meat.
You've got the meat sleeps. Akin to, but legally distinct from the meat sweats.
Yes.
You also notice this very prominently displayed bastard sword hanging on the wall. The appearance of rust and notches indicates to you that it is non-magical.
Yes, Raiken sees it, and he acknowledges it, but he's not a big sword guy, so.
Yeah, he's a more about axes.
I guess, but he is. I mean, it's still a weapon, though, so I think he still might ask, the innkeeper, what is the significance of that sword behind the bar?
She seems unprepared for this question. At first, as she's back there, she's cleaning plates and glasses and refilling them as people, mosey up to the bar and away with them. But after a moment of kind of like seeming not to notice the question at first, continuing to clean, she'll finally kind of lower the glass and make eye contact with you. Those green eyes glinting in the firelight at you. She'll say, "Oh, that's my old standby, the only husband I ever needed. That sword saw me through quite a lot in my day. A lot of lives saved because of him."
I understand the feeling.
But
Raiken will pull his axe out and put it on the bar.
She'll look up at you, kind of quirking an eyebrow a little bit, and then she'll move over to look at your proffered weapon. Then she'll, without touching it, she will, inspect it, look it over in the orange light of the flames. She'll say, "Silvered?" And she'll kind of run a hand, not touching it, but like over it, like an inch between her hand and the blade itself. Says, "It doesn't feel like you've magicked it?"
Nope. Everybody else has magicked their weapons in the party, but this one I never magicked.
I like a person who can appreciate cold steel. Magic, there's nothing wrong with it. Not at all. In fact, it makes so many things easier. But a good weapon, a weapon with a name, and a story that it's earned, I've always found that those were the ones made the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, this guy's been with me since the very beginning of our journey. Way back, which started Ebengard.
Ha! Ebengard. It's been a while since I've been around that way. Bit cold for me these days. The old bones don't like it.
It'll be interesting to go back to it. Hopefully we can save it.
Yes. Well, you'll be taking the army up there to fight these blasted dragons that keep killing everybody, eh?
Yes.
Well, my adventuring days are behind me at this point, but were I even 5 years younger, perhaps, maybe then I'd take him down, take him for another little walk, as we used to call him.
I think it would like that. I think sometimes you have to take them out, let them breathe the fresh air.
They always get so messy in the breathing. Comes with the territory, I
Indeed.
suppose. Well, she's going to, very gently pat the axe on both the blade and the haft, and you see her very gently trace the lightning bolt of gold on the blade and say, I appreciate you showing me this, and it's nice to meet a fellow mundane weapon user. This one's got its share of battle scars, and I'm glad to see that they're still keeping you company.
Yes. I hope that I'll never have to lose Fenrir.
You kind of see this smile spreading across her face after you say the name, as she kind of nods her head, looking at the blade. She says, Fenrir. It's a good name for a sword, for an axe, for a weapon.
Thank you.
She's going to, tap the symbol of cord that has been engraved into the blade. Say, "Ah, you're him, aren't you? The old commander, Tatsir. He talked about you. You're his brother, right?"
Yes, that I am. I am Raiken, his brother.
Well, it's a fine thing to make your acquaintance, Raiken. He always had a lot of good things to say about you. He seemed to worry about you. The times that he would talk here over drinks, I mean to say. Not that I pried much. Could have.
Oh, typical older brother.
He seemed to have a lot of weight on those older brother's shoulders. I don't know all the things that troubled him, but your name came up. The fact that you followed Cord came up. There's one thing I am sure of, though.
What is that?
He was proud of you. Sometimes the other officers would try to rib him about how, he'd lost touch of you, let you follow a god other than Bahamut. He'd tell him he wasn't quiet about it neither. It didn't matter that you weren't following Bahamut. You were doing what was important to you, and you were doing it just as well as you could. That you'd become champion of your own god just like he is, and he said, what was it? It runs in the family! Something like that.
Oh, that Tatsuya. As Raiken kind of chuckles and will kind of put his head down a little bit. Kind of hear a few sniffles.
She'll she'll reach a hand across and place it on top of yours, patting it. Like, wherever Bahamut sent him, I'm sure he'll be fine. He's done a good job with these boys and girls. I mean, they're still a little wet, green, but he's done what he could.
I know. I hope that I can continue making him proud and help finish what he started.
Just gonna nod. You hear a lot of things. Keeping it in. People talk. Sometimes they talk to you because they need to. Sometimes they talk nearby because they don't think much of it. But when I can pass on a story like that, let you know maybe thoughts they hadn't shared directly with you, I think that's a good thing. Makes the job worth it.
Thank you. I truly appreciate this.
Of course. Have a good stay. That's one of my softest rooms, so I hope it's to your liking.
I am sure it will be the best room I've ever stayed in.
Well, perhaps it's not all that then, but I appreciate the sentiment. Anyway, sleep well, sir, if there's anything you need. Someone will be on hand most of the night. We do the shift sleeping.
Thank you. You have a good night as well.
She smiles and nods and heads back to where she had been taking orders and washing cups. You see as she passes by the sword on the wall, she reaches out a hand without looking over and just sort of pats up near the cross guard. You see the sword on its hooks kind of sways back and forth against the tapestry just a little bit. And then she continues walking.
Raiken will grin as he picks his axe up off of the bar and turns to walk up the stairs to the room.
Good. Kick all you guys out here. Alright, with our last couple minutes here, Thandros and Vendar. Thandros is going to, nod to you and swing his head toward the fireplace and lead you over to a table over there. Excuse me. There is a half-elf minstrel over here, purple clothing, blonde hair, and a lute, who's just strumming out a nice, gentle piece and singing a soft elegy. It makes for good background. It's not too disruptive, and you can see that there are a few other officers around, talking or enjoying the music in the warmth of the fire here. As he sits down, Thandros nods to the man who smiles and nods back, but is engrossed in the song, so he's not listening to the things you're saying. And Thandros is going to sit down, indicating you take the chair next to him. Setting his helmet onto the table, turning it so the visor's looking at him, and he kind of straightens the plumage on it a little bit. Before he kind of leans back in the chair, turning towards you, and looks you up and down. Says, "It's been a hard road, hasn't it, Vendar?"
Yeah. Didn't know so much could happen so much in so short time.
The event that caused this. We didn't have any time to talk about it before. Are you okay? I mean, will you be okay?
Yeah, it's gonna take some getting used to. Suddenly hope everybody in my life is gonna be okay with it. But I think they will be.
Yeah. I can't see any problem with that. I mean, Dragonborn. It's kind of cool, actually. Although, I suppose you'll be ducking under doorways these days.
It's weird to get used to. I spent my life used to being one height, now I'm suddenly taller.
Everything looks smaller now. Am I like an ant now?
You're still pretty big yourself.
How's the weather up there? What happened?
Well,
I mean, if it's okay to ask.
we wound up in this fight with an archdevil. It was we weren't expecting to fight an archdevil, but suddenly he appeared. Wasn't much we could do but fight him.
Isn't archdevil what they call, like, the ones that are the rulers of the planes of the Nine Hells?
Something like that. It was a really, really powerful devil. It was kicking the shit out of us. It was very unexpectedly started fighting this thing, and it quickly it blinded, deafened Lair, and then it walked over and started kicking the shit out of me and blind and deafened me, and I was almost dead, and I couldn't see or hear anything, and I decided, a little foreknown that I had just recently acquired a new item. It was called nitroglycerin, and it's very explosive. And I thought, well, if I was gonna die, I'd better take this thing with me. At least I could save my friends.
You sacrificed yourself to kill the devil?
I did. Oh, well, what was up on me after having just kicked the shit out of me. I took a couple vials of the nitroglycerin out and I smashed them in its face.
Dad never would have seen that one coming.
I don't think anybody who used to know me would have. I've changed.
You have. I never really knew what he had going on, you know. He always pushed us, right? And for me, he pushed me toward leadership. And I think that he wanted me to be a bit more ruthless in the way I went about it, but I never really lived up to that, though I don't really regret it. He had Vicaris for that.
Me.
So, I guess, in a way, I got to be the honorable face. I've spoken to Mother a little now.
That's good. She was really worried about you.
Yeah, well, I mean, ever since you arranged the, that weird sending, I thought maybe letting people believe I'm dead isn't such a good idea.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that, Vendar.
You're welcome.
I mean, it's weird. It's hard for me to put into words. I always knew, right? Like, you know, you always believe the best about your family, about your siblings. I always wanted all of you guys to be well taken care of and happy, and I thought by going into Dad's army and leading it that I was giving you a good life. You know, I was taking that hit, taking on that responsibility so that you all wouldn't have to. And then I saw the way he was handling Vicaris, and I got, I don't know, a taste of reality, I guess. Not the whole story, obviously, but I knew there was other things going on. So I just kept hoping that it wouldn't touch you or Lilith. But I'm sure it did. And I'm sure it was hard. And I'm sorry if I wasn't there when you needed me. I never even thought to say it before we met up again, before you found me here. God. I'm sorry. That's what I'm trying to say, Vendar. I'm sorry I wasn't a better older brother.
Thank you. But I don't blame you for it. Father didn't really want us to be close. He kept me isolated, especially.
If I'd thought for myself more back then, you know, instead of just doing what he wanted, or my version of rebelling against what he wanted, which really wasn't, in hindsight, that much of a rebellion. Maybe I could have been there, you know? That's what I keep worrying about. Maybe I could have been there, and whatever he did, whatever your experience with him, wouldn't have happened, and maybe you wouldn't have ended up fighting this devil, this archdevil. You wouldn't have blown up. I mean, it's weird, right? You know, logically, I know that it's not directly my fault, but emotionally, I feel like your death is my fault, even though it was temporary. But I just wanted to see how you were doing and make sure that I said that. said that I was sorry.
I appreciate that. Our childhood was not easy. But I really don't blame you. I don't think there was much you could have done, even if you had known. Father had been that way since long before you were born.
Yeah, the little bits of story I've been able to get out of Mom about it. Sounds like that's true. I'm only here because I ran away. That was me running away. That was my rebellion. Abandon his army, thinking foolishly, see how far he gets with them without me, knowing all those people, good soldiers I was abandoning, thinking they don't have me as a leader, maybe they'll walk away too. Take his power, you know? Stupid. It was stupid. I am idealistic, I guess. But yeah, I'll go fight a dragon. Be a hero. This guy, this Tatsuya, you know? There was something going on that was bigger than me, that was bigger than Dad, and I thought maybe if I'm there, what I do can have meaning, more meaning than Dad.
That was certainly true.
I don't know. I guess part of the reason that I wanted to make sure I said all this is that I'm a little concerned about what the future holds, or how much future there is. Like,
You gotta make sure we win this.
That's a tall order, Vendar. You know, and it was just Bala. When it was just the Green Dragon. But then the others all rose too, and it's just like one after another, unstoppable, unheard of. You know, what was it? Hundreds of years, thousands of years, there's none of them, and now all of them. And we're supposed to fight all 5 of them? And then Tiamat. Look. We're gonna do it. We're gonna fight. We're gonna give our best. I just have to be real for a moment, for a minute here with the one person I can be. My brother. Say, I'm worried. I'm scared. I know, I'm not supposed to be. I'm the big brother. I'm supposed to be one who has the brave face for all this stuff, but I'm sorry. I've been doing that for months. And I need a minute here to really get this off my chest. I'm sorry. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, it's okay. This is a very scary situation. There's never been anything like it. Thankfully, with us now in charge, we will hopefully have a better chance. We're not planning on killing Tiamat anymore, so we can reseal the dragons instead of killing them all to summon Tiamat.
The seals held a long time. Long time.
Hopefully they will again.
I want to believe that. I have to believe that. Because if I don't believe that, then I have to kill Tiamat. And I don't know if we have enough people for that. I don't even know. Everything seemed very cut and dry until, I don't know, a few days ago. not to blame you, but when you came back into my life, we were just going to train the army and take them to Evangard to kill 5 dragons. Tatsuya had some intel on their weaknesses and the like. He had a plan for separating them so that we didn't have to fight them in one clump, you know? He talked about it so confidently. We're just gonna march in there and lay down Bahamut's law. The heavens will rain down light to aid us. I believed it. Now he's not here. Not that I don't believe in Yuki Kaze. I just don't know him.
Hopefully you get to know him. And hopefully we can even use some of Tatsuya's plans to help. We will still have to fight 4 dragons at least.
Your scales are really cool, Vendar.
Thanks. Yeah, I lucked out in color and pattern.
Sorry, I must sound stupid right now. Like a child.
Not at all.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that we get to do this together, actually. I thought that it was going to be just me, me and Tatsuya and this army, and that was going to be my legacy alone. And I was okay with that because it meant that, you and Vicaris and Lilith and Mom were away from Evangard, and hopefully safe as long as we succeeded. But honestly, now that you're here, I'm really happy about that.
I'm glad you'd be here with you too. Something we should do together.
He's gonna hold out a fist to you, say, Draknir brothers?
Draknir brothers. I'll bump his fist, that's what he wanted, right?
He takes a draft of the drink he carried over with him. He says, I just realized that you're more fitting of the family name now than before.
Yeah, I thought about that too. We were kind of named after dragons, now I am.
Maybe it was fated. Maybe this is all how it's supposed to happen. Yeah. Maybe there's nothing wrong. Well, what do they say? Fate spins on, right?
Yep.
It's not good, but it is the way it's supposed to be. Maybe if I can believe that, maybe that's enough. Anyway. Sorry, I didn't want to dump all that emotional stuff on you necessarily, but I really needed to, so sorry.
Anytime. What's family for?
Dumping emotional stuff on?
Exactly.
Oh, good. I wasn't sure if that was right. Let's go to bed. He's going to, down the last of the drink and slam it on the table before, pulling out a gold coin and, flicking it across the room, and it kind of like you see that there's like this burlap sack kind of on the floor in front of the minstrel that's got a few coins spilled around it. It kind of like clangs onto the top of those and lands, just almost inside the sack. See, the minstrel smiles and bows his head mid-song to the clinking coin. And I think we'll call it there for now. Oh, 15 minutes over. Sorry about that, but I wanted to get that done. Okay. Cool. So, those that need it, 5,000 EXP. Hopefully the last of the party's creeping on toward 20th level.
Just a couple more days.
Alright. Well, with that, I will see you all next time as we conclude the first of the last 4 days, at this point 3 days, before the army was initially ready to move, and we'll see how or if that changes by the end of those 3 days. So, thank you for being here, and have a good night, everybody. Bye, stream.
Goodbye.
Good
Bye.
night.